I understand Americans for Tax Reform is supporting the
Well,
legislation.
ATR doesn't particularly have a position, but I do personally. I think it's good policy. I think it's good for growth. I think it's good for the budget and all those sorts of things, because people are an asset rather than a liability. People go, should we have immigration? It's like asking McDonald's, should we do hamburgers? We are a country. We always say it's a country of immigrants. It's said so often that people think it's a platitude. It is the secret sauce. What makes us different from everybody else. Okay, it's why we're not Germans. It's why we're not French people. We're a country where people came from everywhere else. Lots of different religions, lots of different backgrounds, and we all and we assimilate into an American culture that has an incredible strength compared to other countries in the way they operate. Because if everybody's Japanese, they can't stand the small group of Koreans that have come in. Whereas if people from Japan came from 100 different places, no one would be going around, you're not quite us. China can't do immigration. We can't. We're the future, they're not, because we do immigration. Because we can grow. We can grow as much as we want. They can't. China can't decide to grow more. They've already decided to have not enough women. Not just not enough kids, but they're particularly not having women. So if you're trying to restart the whole process again, you really should have had more women, not fewer, as your strategy. So immigration is what's made us economically strong, politically strong, militarily strong, culturally cohesive and strong. And the argument that, you got all these different people. We've only been through that argument when the Chinese showed up, when the Japanese showed up, when the Germans showed up in the 1700s, when the Irish showed up, when the Jews showed up. Every group we were told, this group won't assimilate, except they all did. Okay, and the groups coming in now, not just Hispanics, Asians, and others, intermarry, exogenous marriages, more than ever before. It took some groups 100 years to get to 1/3 marrying out. And these guys are walking in the door and marrying our relatives. They're going, how'd that happen? So they're switching religions. They get married. The level of assimilation, the kind of thing that people worried about 100 years ago and 50 years ago and 150 years ago. These are answered questions not just by history, but by looking around. So what's your other question? More people make us poorer. Let's see, there are 300 million Americans now. There used to be 3 million. Were we richer or poorer when we had 100 million? No, we should be 100 people poorer because you have to divide a fixed pie by 300. No, it's not a fixed pie. People are assets. People produce as well as consume. More people is good, not bad. So
what do you?
The answer is immigration historically has made this country a success. Now, you can argue about how many other, but being pro-immigrant is part of the American ethos. And what's great to see is you're now getting this argument about border security and stuff nobody's arguing against immigrants. We just should have a secure border. Okay, fine. A lot of the anti-immigrant rhetoric of previous fights is actually being dropped, which is good and healthy.
That's what I wanted to ask you about with the border security component, because a lot of conservatives are saying we want the border secure first, then we can proceed with the legalization process. Do you agree with that position?
Well, I think that they're working out something that answers that question on the Senate side. And in point of fact, the most important thing is a guest worker program like Eisenhower had, which makes the way you have a secure border is to have people walk through doors with permits to work. So you see them all and you know who they are. Before the Bracero program, the guest worker program, they were arresting 800,000 people a year. Then when they had a permit program, it dropped to $50,000 a year because people got signed up for jobs and they came and worked and they could come and go. And then when the unions wanted them to kill that program because they didn't like it, Kennedy and LBJ did it, and they went up to arresting 1 million people a year at the border. So you can tighten border security, but the actual way to control the border is with a robust guest worker program. The other stuff looks nice. It's a big wall, but that's not what gives you border security. Mm-hmm. So you should do both. Have border security of fences or whatever, and a robust guest worker program.